What is up, real estate development family? It's Sam bring you another action-packed live stream where I drop nuggets on you guys that I've been thinking about and that will add value. So, welcome to the Real Estate Developer Group. This group is specifically for real estate investors who are struggling with knowledge and experience to become real estate developers. I'm Sam, also known as the Pro Design Builder. I'm your host, but I also went through this exact experience in trying to grow my knowledge base. If you don't know my story, I make sure that I always tell my story. But I was a house flipper for 5 years, and I learned a lot during my experience as a house flipper. And I hired contractors, I fired contractors, and that's kind of how I got into construction. But I got into construction specifically to learn new development. So the last 8 years, I've spent all of my time as a design build general contractor. If you don't know what that is, design build general contractor handles every aspect of the project down to the architect, to the designer, to the permit process, to the actual construction. So I make it very easy for my clients. I'm the single point of contact when you want to get a project off the ground. So from concept to completion, I am your man, right? So it took me a long time to kind of learn and get to this place because I didn't enter the business through construction. All right, I entered it through investing and in solving a problem, which is my contractor problem. I ended up becoming a contractor to kind of solve those issues. But it has taught me so much about this business, this industry. And, now I am using all of this knowledge that I've gained through time to kind of help you guys grow to achieve your goals, right? And why would I do that? There's several reasons why I want to do that. One, I wish someone helped me, right? So I'll tell you, I was flipping a house, right? And what happened was this particular house needed a engineering letter for apparently before I bought the house, a car had ran into the side of the home, and this particular structure is block, so there was a structural integrity issue and it had to be rebuilt. But I remember reaching back out to the building. It was an engineer that built properties, but anyways, I needed a letter from him, and then I remembered him. And when I started to branch out into new development, I go, let me reach out to this guy and just see what he's about, right? And then you hear these different books or stories and say, offer to work for him for free, right? So that's what I did. I went to his office and I said, hey, listen, I want to learn to, to build houses, because I wanted to. This is before I started my construction company, and I want to learn to build houses, and I'm willing to work for you for free. You just tell me what I need to do, and I'll get it done for you. And the guy was a real jerk, and the guy said to me, uh, "How about you pay me $30,000? I'll show you everything you need to know." Right? And I was like, that was like eye opening to me. And then he goes, as a matter of fact, make that $40,000. I promise to you, I'll teach you everything you need to know. Right? And then I remember how of a like a dirty feeling it left in my mouth after speaking to that guy. And he was a jerk. He was not personable. He wasn't somebody that I really truly wanted to learn and grow from. So that was my first experience there, right? And then uh, I reached out to a friend of mine that I went to high school with, and he was a developer, right? And at this time, he's a developer in Manhattan, major developer, high rises, 40-story buildings, major development. So I went to go see him in Manhattan, and at the time he had about $600 million in development projects going. He had a couple hundred more, a couple 100 million more in in planning, and I really wanted to sit down and pick his brain and really figure out everything that I needed to do to kind of get to his level, right? And I remember walking out of that particular meeting, and all I could say to myself was, well, actually, I said it to him in this meeting. I was like, I gotta learn development through construction. That was gonna be my route, right? Because it's gonna give me the full base that I needed to know and understand about all aspects of it. All right, I already had the investment background. I didn't have that at the time of the raising capital, using institutional capital, and all of that. Um, Construction loans and all of that stuff, right? I didn't have that experience, so I had to gain that. So that was kind of my route into new development and construction, and it's been a one heck of a ride. All right, so now I'm doing the same thing that I wish someone had for me that could bend my knowledge curve and bend the amount of time I had to spend to get to where I'm going, right? And that's the purpose of this group. And I impart my knowledge on this group as much as I can to kind of help you guys along the way. So I felt like someone needed to hear this, so I just wanted to share this with you, especially with how crazy times are right now. All right, so I got Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Right? I felt like someone needed to hear that today, especially with all of the craziness going on around us. Right? It sometimes put things into perspective of not letting this anxiety, get to us, and bring that petition to God. This is me. This is who I am. I don't turn it off. I don't wear it and then take it off. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. And, I love it. All right. I wanted to share one more with you. All right. This is going to be Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and I will uphold you with my righteous hand. Right. It's another one about fear and not allowing that to put you in a place where you can't move, right? And that's what happens typically with people that are branching out into new areas, right? So for me, coaching and consulting is new for me. But one thing I do know is to take one step in front of the other every single time. And with that, you will achieve your goal, your vision, right? But it starts with laying down your plan and laying down your vision. So today, we're going to be discussing how to identify profitable development sites. I think this is a training that you'll get tremendous value from, and I wanted to dive into this to make sure that you guys are educated in this process, right? So if you ever have any questions, make sure you drop it in the chat. I want to engage with you guys more. There is going to be more and more people coming into the group. I want to make sure while the group is still small, I am able to give you guys attention and give you guys a level of service that I may not a little bit later. So I just want to take advantage of that, right? So if you have questions, drop it in the chat, reach out to me. What are you struggling with, so I could produce more videos that will help you kind of get some clarity and get some understanding, right? So we're going to be diving into how to identify profitable development sites, right? So the first step is it starts with researching the demand in your market, right? I highly, highly, highly recommend you identify growth areas with population growth, right? I'm big on big cities. Cities are important because there's a lot of job creation. There's a lot of variables that really affect the way that you sell a property, if it makes it more desirable or less. If there's infrastructure development that's happening around the area, is the city growing? Is there jobs relocating? Is there different industries sprouting up? You got to really think from a higher level, right? Someone's going to always need a property to sleep in, right? So, a rule of thumb is 5 million and above, right? That's they want that house, right? They don't have to have that house. Anything 5 million and below, someone needs to stay there, needs to live there because they need a roof over their head, right? So that's kind of like the rule of thumb that I use. So if you're below that particular threshold, and I expect everybody to be in this particular group, then you have the clarity and understanding that people need to have a roof over their head, right? I have written down right here, we're currently 4.1 million units short of housing in this country. That issue is a mathematical equation that is not solving itself anytime soon, right? If you have that understanding, you can think clearly about what you need to do to set yourself up from a business perspective in new development, right? This issue is not solving itself easily, right? 4.1 million homes, right? That's probably 15, 20 years of building that needs to happen for us to catch up with the amount of units we actually need to house everybody in this country, right? So if you understand that math, you understand why there's a big need for new developers to sprout up. All right, so look at areas of housing shortages. If there is any commercial demands that attach to that, if there's industries that are coming in, those are things that are going to be really important. Also, you want to study comps in your area. That's going to be very important. Study comps, study rental rates. All of those are going to be important because you're going to need to have multiple exit strategies when you're doing a new development projects, right? So I teach you how to get your first 1 to 4 units off the ground. Reason for that is a residential loan. Anything 5 units and above is commercial, and we want to just get the first one out of the way. So we focus on the first 1 to 4 units. So let's analyze the zoning and land use regulation, right? So review zoning codes to determine the allowable use and density, right? So you're checking things like zoning variances, right? Upzoning opportunities. Can we upgrade this particular parcel? All right. Has there been a parcel in the area that has had a zoning change? All right. This is going to be very important when there is, or you would need a land use attorney, right? You submit an application to the city or the municipality. It goes under review, and then they will go to bat and do the research attached to getting this zoning change, right? And when the zoning change happens, that's when you create value, right? It increases the highest and best use. And that's what real estate development is increasing the highest and best use of that particular parcel, right? So you did the work, you did the application, you got the variance and the zoning changed, and then now we can build a upgraded property or sell it to another developer that will spend the time to develop it, and you increase the value, right? So that's kind of how that works. So review the setbacks, height restrictions, and parking requirements. All of these are going to be important, right? So based on the square footage of the home, are you going to need 2 spots of parking, or are you going to need 3? All right. What is the city going to allow, right? The setbacks, if you don't know what setbacks are, it's the boundaries of the property, right? So typically what happens is on the sides it's going to be shorter. On the front, there's a setback. It could be 25 feet or so. In the back, it might be 20 feet, or something like that, right? These are general setbacks in my particular area of South Florida. And then that's where the building can start. So it's important to know because the city needs access to whether it's underground plumbing or underground electrical or access to a power pole and stuff like that. And it need to have a right of way to access these things, right? So that's what the setbacks are important for. Evaluate land costs versus potential revenue, right? So I'm going to share a simple formula for you guys to help you guys calculate your profit and then also the max land purchase price, right? So here's the formula, right? So you take the projected sales price minus the development cost minus the profit will equal the maximum land purchase, right? But when you get that maximum land purchase, you're not just done there, right? So now you have to also pull the comparables of the land just to make sure that your math is not off, right? Or you could get even more of a reduction in price. So you're going to pull the comparables of the similar deals to ensure that you're buying it right. So that's kind of how you evaluate a piece of parcel to make sure that you're not paying too much for the land, right? So I'm going to give it to you again. The projected sales price minus the development cost minus the profit gives you the maximum you could pay for the land. All right, so whatever that is. So when you're looking at a particular house or a parcel, that's how you calculate it, right? So easy math equation for making quick decisions, right? So you have to assess the infrastructure and the site condition. Check the utilities. Also, too, what's important for me is I like underground conduit. I like underground electrical. I don't like areas where there's power poles and stuff like that. You have to talk to the city, figure out if they are going to upgrade that or change that. These are the types of questions that you need to know and understand kind of walking in. Evaluate road access and traffic flows. These are going to be important, right? So sometimes it's never happened to us, but you catch these stories on the news. There is a piece of parcel, someone bought this piece of land, and then there is an access road, but they didn't know that that particular road is a private road, and then that owner of that private road won't allow you to access that piece of parcel through that street. So then now you're landlocked, right? These are the types of things that you need to know, right? And to know to also avoid. So evaluate the road access and traffic flows. This one is very important, especially for us in South Florida that have tropical weather conditions, right? So you're looking for environmental risk, right? Like flood zones, right? Which is big down here in South Florida. Every time there is a new hurricane, it makes you even more aware of what's going on in the area when it comes to flood levels, right? So there's FEMA requirements. These are the types of questions that you want to ask, right? Not everywhere will experience what I'm describing, but these are the types of questions, right? Is there contaminants in that particular piece of land or dirt that needs to be remedied? All right, is there clay that needs to be demucked, or is there piles that need to go in to get to bedrock to make sure that the structure is going to be sound, right? So these are the types of things that you're going to need to learn and be comfortable with. Is it a wetland, right? What's going to need to be done there? What type of drainage is going to be needed to make sure that the soil is kept firm, right? So these are the types of things that you need to be aware of when you're assessing site conditions, right? So identify off-market deals and distressed properties, network with brokers, city planners, and local developers, and search for distressed properties, tax liens, and motivated sellers, right? So if there's a particular area that is either transitioning, popular, is there opportunity zone, that there's going to be a level of transition happening in that area, you want to know. You know what you want to. So The luxury that we have as developers is we can kind of create our own market, right? But you don't want to be dumb, right? You want to make sure that this is strategic. The city planner is forecasting a big change in the city. You could kind of get in front of the vision of the city planner, and then you could pick a neighborhood and pick that site and say, hey, I'm going to be here for the next 15 to 20 years, and I'm going to develop a lot of these homes in this particular area. And that's the smart way that developers that are doing 1 to 4 units are doing it, right? And that's how I would recommend it too, because now you're not spread between different cities, going between different sites. You know the area, you get to know the city commission, right? You got to understand there is a lot of politics involved, right? And the more that you know and understand and make relationships with city officials, they know you, they know your brand, they know what you're trying to accomplish. Guess what? They're going to help you, right? And that's something that you need to understand up front in advance, that you need to make these relationships with the city commission. You need to sit in on these meetings and kind of get some understanding and show your face and really be a community builder is what's going to make your vision truly come true. All right. So use creative finance strategies like subject to or seller finance to reduce the acquisition costs on the front side, right? If someone has a piece of parcel and they don't want to get taxed on it right away, maybe they might do a seller finance deal and allow you to transfer it, and then take a little ride with you in the profit department when you get the building up, right? That could help you out a lot. That could be, as much as $500,000 that you didn't have to come out of the pocket, where you needed to put 10% down on the land instead, right? Strategies like that could significantly help you get off the ground, right? And these are the types of things that you need to be thinking about moving forward. So check for different tax incentives, all right? And tax benefits. Opportunity zones are definitely one of them that provides that for a lot of people. There's a lot of tax credits, tax breaks for upgrading these particular areas, and you want to know that in advance. Look for public and private partnerships or city incentives or specific types of developments. All right, so these are typically bigger developments, but if you are ever entertaining or looking to do affordable housing, there might be a level of credits that the city or the government might provide for you for taking on that kind of project, right? I got that question pretty much today from somebody in the group that they want to focus on building affordable housing, and that is a big opportunity that you can get some sort of subsidy from the city or the municipality for taking on that kind of project. And then also to performing that feasibility study, getting more comfortable with understanding all the numbers, all the variables that are going to be needed to execute this project and get it off the ground, right? So conduct a highest and best use analysis, run developer performas, ensuring project meets and returns the investment or the ROI on schedule. So these are exactly the steps that you need to take when you are launching a new project and how to identify profitable development sites. So hopefully with this training, you guys got some nuggets from that. Hopefully, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, and feel free to continue to connect. Feel free to continue to dream and grow in this particular area. So I'll be coming back to you every week and dropping off as many nuggets as possible. Outside of that, have a great day.